What's up everyone, Darcblade here, returning with my gun guide series for The Last of Us, where we take a look at the weapons in the multiplayer and discuss their pros and cons. In this episode we're going to be taking a look at the last large firearm, the bow. The bow is one of the best stealth weapons in the game, but requires a bit of finesse to use effectively. Anyway, let's take a look at the stats for this weapon. Firstly, the bow is unlocked after you've gained 3,400 supplies, so it's one of the last weapons you unlock. It costs 3 loadout points to equip. It has a rate of fire of 3 out of 10, reload speed 4 out of 10, damage 6 out of 10, and accuracy 7 out of 10. The description for the bow describes it as a silent killer, and that you won't show up on the enemy minimap when firing. Now the bow can only fire 1 arrow at a time, but you start off each match with 7 arrows. Now like all weapons in the multiplayer, you can upgrade them with parts mid-match. By upgrading the bow, you will increase its reload speed, starting ammunition, and accuracy. The bow doesn't have as many upgrades as other weapons in the multiplayer. But anyway, like all episodes, I'm going to be talking about the weapon in its default form. Anyway, let's get into the heart of the episode and talk about the bow's pros and cons. Its first major pro is that it's a silenced weapon. Great for people who like to play stealthily. Now you can make other weapons in the game silenced if you attach a silencer to them, but to do this costs additional loadout points. With the bow, it already comes with the silence in effect. This means that the bow is the cheapest silenced large firearm in terms of loadout points. A second major pro for the bow is that you can see where your shot will go. When you aim the bow, a line will come up telling you where your arrow is going to land. This makes it a lot easier to aim. This also helps you cope with the dropout effect that arrows will have. When you fire an arrow, it will always eventually start to drop down, and with this line of sight indicator, it really helps with it. And the last pro is that the arrows can be picked up again. If you miss a shot with the bow, then you can go retrieve that arrow. This can be incredibly useful. I should add that you can't retrieve every single arrow that you fire though, as some arrows do shatter. No weapon is without its cons though, unfortunately. The first major con for the bow, in my opinion, is that if you hold down the aimer for too long, then your character won't cope with the stress of the bow, making it very hard to aim as your reticule becomes uncontrollable. To counteract this though, simply stop aiming, wait a second, and then start aiming again. A second con is that the bow does have quite a slow rate of fire that can be detrimental to the weapon's performance. However, the low rate of fire can be ignored if you're able to get a sneak attack on someone, as the actual arrow damage for this weapon is quite high, so you're able to bring down someone fairly quickly. 2 shots to the body on an unarmoured opponent will bring them down. 1 if you're going for a headshot. The bow can be used at any range, although I feel it's best suited for medium range combat. I personally would maybe take the shorty as a small firearm to accompany the bow for close range combat situations. In my opinion, the best survival skill to use with the bow is covert training, as it is a stealth based survival skill and the bow is a stealth based weapon. With this survival skill and this weapon, you have little to no chance of showing up on enemy radars. Anyway, let's go back and recap the pros and cons for the bow. Firstly, it's a great stealth weapon. Secondly, it shows you where your shots are going to go, but unfortunately has a slow rate of fire, and your accuracy decreases the longer you aim. Overall, the bow is a very unique weapon, aimed at stealth gameplay. The bow is unlikely to win a direct firefight with the other weapons, so is best used in ambushes and sneak attacks. With this in mind, and the arrow's strong damage, you'll soon be bringing down opponents, and that is why the bow gets a 7 out of 10. The bow is perfect for anyone who likes to play stealthily or use sneak attacks. The bow may not be the easiest weapon to use in the multiplayer, but it's definitely got style. Anyway, I've been Darcblade, bringing you my bow gun guide for the multiplayer in The Last of Us. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.